Bill Lear was a member of Superior Senior High's rifle team when he says the coach, who is also a Douglas County deputy, made him and others submit to questionable drug tests. He says Coach Tim Magnuson touched team members inappropriately.
The drug test that he did, the procedure he used, is not in use anywhere. In Olympic training, in NRA training, in NRA competitions, nowhere. The procedure he used, he came into contact with genitals 2 times during the procedure.
When Lear complained to authorities, Magnuson was suspended and investigators were brought in. The investigators concluded that the contact did take place. However, they said they didn't think that Coach Magnuson undertook the sexual contact for the purpose of his own sexual gratification. Magnuson was put back on the job, and his attorney says he was exonerated.
It's complete and utter nonsense. These allegations were first initiated by Mr. Lear approximately 3 years ago. They were completely investigated by the District Attorney's Office out of Rusk County. Mr. Magnuson has been completely vindicated.
Frustrated with the system, Lear, who now works as a police officer, wrote a letter to Magnuson. The letter contained some strong statements, including one telling Magnuson to put a gun to his head and commit suicide.
The reason I wrote the letter, in the first place, I tried everything. I tried district attorney, I tried the sheriff. I was at an end.
Deputy Magnuson demanded a restraining order, which would have cost Officer Bill Lear his privilege to carry a gun, and probably his job as a Madison area cop. The case was settled in a Superior courtroom today when both men agreed to have no further contact. In Superior, Adam May, Channel 6 News.
It shouldn't happen in a school this size. There are only 1,500 people in this town. Everybody seems to know everybody. This is something that would happen in a bigger town, not in a small town like this.
They're wondering what it is, and so they'll ask, what's this apple chili dog? And they're not sure whether it's in the dog or if it's in the chili or where it is, so we give them a quick explanation that it's just an added feature to the chili that goes on top of the hot dog.
Perfect weather.
15 jurors will be selected here in Stillwater, Minnesota from a potential jury pool of 73 people. They will stand judgment over Jamie Lee Obed. The 21-year-old is charged with aiding and abetting first-degree murder in the death of Paul Antonich August 28th of 1996. Testimony from previous trials stated that Obed brought the gun to the location that the 5 defendants had met at the day of the murder. New evidence is expected to be brought out in this trial that gun, a .22 caliber pistol, pistol was stolen. Now, last month, a Dakota County jury found Lester Dale Greenleaf and Andy DeVerney guilty of the same charge that Jamie Lee Obed faces. As jury selection continues here in Stillwater, potential jurors are asked many questions based on surveys that they filled out. Some of those questions include how they feel about the criminal justice system, whether or not they'd be able to look at graphic crime photos, and whether the length of the trial would be an inconvenience for them. Jury selection is expected to take a week and a half. In Washington County, Maureen Tallarico, Channel 6 News.
Winter hits hard and often early in the Northland, so even in October it's not too early to start thinking about getting ready.
For this year I'm just insulating my slab, and then you got to put the storm windows on and check everything for cracks if you need to do any caulking.
There are many products available to keep heat in and the cold out, and according to Walmart manager Jeff Horace, most people start with the windows. Many choices are available that all work basically the same.
Once again, it's all for the same purpose, to keep the air out in where it might seep in just the opposite of summer, where it might be a little nicer to have that.
Horace says that 80% of the winterizing products he sells are for windows, but you can't stop there.
Yeah, you might want to go into your basement, check your pipes, any exterior water spigots you probably want to make sure you cover up.
There are also several things you can do to protect cars from the cold.
Fix anything that's wrong with it so you don't have to do it in the cold. You know, make sure the heater, about a new battery, and check the antifreeze.
The winterized washer fluid, which you might want to look at if you switch to regular washer fluid during the summer, you probably want to get that switched out because you're going to have your windshield wash freeze up on you.
Then there are the miscellaneous items like scrapers and salt that are not to be forgotten.
I was introduced when I came up here to a roof rake, which was the first time I'd ever heard of that. I thought people were kidding me, but that was kind of interesting.
Winters in the Northland can be scary, but planning ahead can make all the difference.
Get the jumping cables and get the blankets in the car and get ready for the bad winter up here.
In Duluth, Justin Acree, Channel 6 News.
Good luck to you. All his life, Ted Gay has helped people as a social worker for the past 28 years. But 3 heart attacks in 12 years have taken their toll. And now Ted is at the top of the list for a transplant. And that means he has to leave his job of helping people.
Well, it gets very difficult. I have difficult times every day now, so it's getting to the point where I've kind of delayed it a long time, and I want to increase my chances to make it to transplant.
Ted's been on the waiting list for more than a year. In that time, he's had to change his life, being ready to fly to Minneapolis at a moment's notice. An avid dancer of the jitterbug, he's had to cut back his social life, but still manages to get in some numbers with the ladies.
It used to be, keep 4 or 5 partners going every night, but now I can be lucky if I make it through one good fast dance, but I can do the slower ones.
His good humor masks the incredible anxiety of waiting and dealing with a sea of myths regarding organ donation. You must be certified brain dead before being considered as a donor. That means blood and oxygen are not getting to your brain, and there is no chance for survival. Once the decision to donate has been made, there is no cost to the donor's family. And the most important, merely checking your license as an organ donor will not work. At the time of your death, doctors turn to your family for the decision to donate, a decision that saves lives every day.
I always say when I get my new heart, then I'll be ready to go do all those things I can't do now.
Like what?
Oh, I don't know. I have to, this year, the first year, and years won't be going deer hunting.
Too modest for a retirement party, his co-workers are planning a celebration for Ted, honoring their supervisor, their friend.
He loves life. He loves people. He cooks, he dances, he fishes, he hunts. His family is extraordinarily important to him. And when you have a human being like that who loves from their heart so much, it hurts to see them lose what they've given away.
The Home Delivered Meals program in St. Louis County serves more than 185,000 meals a year to homebound people who are 60 and over. Blanche Archambault is one of many who benefits from the meals.
Oh, it makes you feel awfully good because I don't drive, I can't get out. My husband had a stroke, so he's been addicted to the hospital up there. And so it's nice to get it.
The program is nicknamed Meals on Wheels and relies on volunteers to get the food rolling, but there's currently a shortage of help.
Always a lack. We have lack on holidays. We have a shortage, particularly in some of our smaller programs. Morgan Park, I know right now, is hurting for volunteers.
Kids from Morgan Park School have been working to correct that. They've gone out recruiting volunteers to serve in their area.
I feel good because, I mean, they usually don't have a lot of families or not a lot of family members or anything, so helps them out a little bit and gives them a nice food, so it makes me feel great.
Shar Hansen of the Arrowhead Agency on Aging hopes the students' efforts will increase the number of volunteers and also help close the generation gap.
It's part of an intergenerational component of getting the kids together and helping out older people.
Another cause for concern in the program is that many of the current volunteers are getting older and may not be able to serve for much longer.
We're looking for younger, permanent volunteers who can be with us on a long-term basis. 1 day a week, 1 day a month. Just about anything would improve our program.
In Duluth, Justin Acree, Channel 6 News.
First one will be going to Pennell Apartments.
A possible gang-related murder in Grand Rapids has left many people in the community shocked and frustrated.
Disgusted, just disgusted that would happen anywhere, but right in my own backyard. It's just wrong.
Grand Rapids residents Stephen Schoenborg and Bradley James Yost are accused of killing 18-year-old William Norman Booth in what police have been told was a gang-related incident. This is the property in Grand Rapids that Stephen Schoenborg was renting. Officials were told that Bradley Yost called a party here to teach William Booth a lesson because Yost and Schoenborg believed that Booth was serving as a police informant. That was on October 20th. The men allegedly then took Booth to this mining dump in Arbo Township north of Grand Rapids where they stabbed and shot him to death. Catherine McLinn knows Booth's family and says she's saddened by the incident.
Very disappointed to hear about it, and especially about who the actual victim was. I knew the family. I know it's a really wonderful family.
Alan Roque went to Grand Rapids High School with Yost. He said he's surprised and that he never knew Yost to cause any trouble.
Just a normal guy, totally normal guy. That fit right in, I thought.
City leaders acknowledge a gang presence in the town, but say a gang task force and additional police officers are working to control it.
I don't think we should panic. This is an isolated event. I'm reassured by law enforcement that it's not connected to any bigger issue. I don't think the community needs to panic at this point.
In Grand Rapids, Justin Akery, Channel 6 News.
A patient at one of Duluth's hospitals was a victim of a theft sometime during the week prior to October 19th. As doctors and nurses tried to help the patient, someone entered his room and rummaged through his personal things. They stole a wallet containing about $100, but more important, they also stole his personal effects, such as his Army discharge papers and family photos. He passed away. The family was devastated, and the theft only added to their grief. Thieves who prey on hospital and nursing home residents are becoming more and more common. Don't assume property is safe when you check in. It's not. Lock up your valuables in a secure place or turn them over to someone you trust. If you know the thief, call Crime Stoppers. We'll pay you a substantial reward and keep your name anonymous. Our numbers are 1-800-974-TIPS or 723-ENOUGH. That's 723-3683.
Well, it's been an interesting campaign. I never expected to get quite so politically involved as all of this, but the issues have been fairly focused, and we've had some good discussions about the issues, and I'm looking forward to seeing some good results.
Well, nobody likes to see an injured animal running around, so if you got your rifle sighted in good and make a good clean shot, you get a good kill.
It wasn't until later that the officer's suspicion was raised after they'd had a chance to talk to the treating physician.
The year was 1945, and the world was at war. On a tiny island in the South Pacific during the liberation of the Philippines, Norbert Spaeth's life changed forever.
It was in the morning, just at daybreak. No, yeah, just at daybreak when they attacked us. And my gunner, my assistant gunner, 2 ammunition bearers, and my section sergeant, they wouldn't come out of the foxhole where trench would be laid in. I went out myself. I took the machine gun and threw the belt machine bullet across my back, and away I went.
Spaeth and a fellow gunner saved the men in their platoon by stopping the advance of the Japanese. In the course of a half hour, 1,300 enemy soldiers were killed. Suffering from shell shock, Norbert does not remember the visit from General MacArthur in the hospital.
He was going to give me a Congressional Medal of Honor. That's what they told me. I told him, I said, I didn't come out for medals. I come out to fight.
Soon after that visit, the war ended. Norbert returned on this ship and married Rose, his wife of 49 years. The couple moved to West Eveleth, and it wasn't until last year that their son Bert, a Gulf War veteran himself, first heard what happened.
I knew nothing about my dad's war experiences, and we have a lot of blood-bought fiefdoms in this country, and there's many stories that are hidden in people's minds that aren't being told.
Bert has spearheaded the effort to get his father's long overdue award. While he'd like to get the Congressional Medal, the renewed interest in his story is also a painful reminder for Norbert.
To bring memories back. All the buddies I lost up were there. Good friends of mine, you know, close friends. They're gone.
In West Eveleth, Maureen Tallarico, Channel 6 News.
There was a actual whiteout condition when he came and passed a car and got back in the lane and hit a snow cloud that would just blinded his vision, and he ended up on the exit ramp, you know, which was not the expected ramp to take at that time, you know.
Well, I think it's very clear that arson is a very hideous crime, and it causes a lot of concern for our neighborhoods. I believe with this arrest, we can put some of that to the side, but as the chief has stated, there are still ongoing investigations as there are other fires.
There have been more than 230 vehicles stolen in Duluth so far this year, including 20 snowmobiles and ATVs. Most of the cars and trucks have been recovered, but over half of the recreation vehicles are still missing. On Monday night, November 3rd, thieves found a 1996 Skidoo Formula 3 snowmobile on a trailer in front of a home on Trinity Road. They hooked the trailer to their truck and drove it to the mall where they abandoned the trailer. The thieves then either loaded the Skidoo into their truck or drove off into the Duluth Heights neighborhood. Police believe the thieves will drive the machine hard until it's wrecked. Call Crime Stoppers if you know where the snow machine is or who stole it. Our numbers are 1-800-974-TIPS or 723-ENOUGH. To prevent your snow machine from being stolen, carry a cable with you and padlock it every time you park it.
Boxes and boxes of frozen turkeys are coming off this truck and into the Union Gospel Mission. The birds have been donated by bowlers at Country Lanes North and members of the Elks Club, Lodge 133.
It's nice to be able to, do something for the eating, and I think that the people really appreciate it, and I do for the contributions that the bowlers and the Elks have given to this deal here.
The donation takes a huge amount of pressure off the Union Gospel Mission.
We were kind of short, and it was kind of a blessing. Vern came along. The turkeys were trickling in. We had nowhere near enough. And Vern called, and he came in, and we met, and he assured us that we would have enough turkeys for our Thanksgiving dinner and our baskets.
The Union Gospel Mission will feed between 200 and 400 people Thanksgiving Day and deliver 75 to 100 baskets to families, complete with turkey, potatoes, even cranberries. The need for extra help by individuals and families is great. 1 out of every 16 Minnesotans uses a food shelf. Statewide donations have dropped while the need has increased.
I really find that we're probably seeing some of the same people more often than we would have been in the past, because it's just harder to stretch the food stamps. Food stamps have been reduced, especially for single people, but some families have had their food stamps reduced too, so there's just not a lot of places for them to go.
Chum workers say recent food drives like Shares a few weeks ago helped the agency immensely. This whole room is filled with food collected from that drive alone. But gifts like the 100 turkeys donated to the Union Gospel Mission give those who are just getting by a special treat, just in time for the holidays.
Just a pleasure knowing people like Vern and that people do come through at this time of year when it's needed.
In Duluth, Maureen Tallarico, Channel 6 News.
In the National Football League, there may be no rivalry stronger than the one between the Vikings and the Packers. And when the two teams go head-to-head, the excitement is bound to be frenzied. In living rooms and watering holes throughout the Northland last night, the game was the biggest thing to happen in this region since the fishing opener for fans old and young. In Viking territory, unadulterated bias reared its ugly head when this young fan was asked why he liked the Vikings.
Well, they're not cheeseheads like the Packers.
Of course, across the bridge in the land of the Packer backers, there was plenty of bias as well. At least one Pack fanatic already knew what she would do if the Packers won the game.
I'll definitely wear my jersey to school tomorrow in Minnesota.
If there's one trait we Northlanders all share, it's that we always prepare for the worst. Fans on both sides of last night's Central Division battle had pre-planned what they would do if their team lost. Do you think the Vikings are going to win?
Yeah.
What are you going to do if they lose?
I usually just brush my teeth and go to bed.
Warm temperatures in December are a welcome sight for many Northlanders, but not necessarily for local business owners.
People started off strong, but the last few weeks we've noticed a drop-off. I think people are starting to hedge their bets as to whether we're going to get the type of snow we've gotten the last couple of years.
Sales are down at many area businesses because of the lack of white stuff. Resorts here in the Northland are also feeling a sting from the lack of cold.
Resort-wide, it has affected the business in the fact that most of our business in the wintertime is snowmobilers, and of course they can't snowmobile out around here.
Area trails open December 1st, and typically ones like this would be flooded with snowmobilers this time of year. But the lack of snow and the warm temperatures have kept them away. Superior Shores General Manager Kelly Kitzman says the vacation business relies a lot on the weather. But some businesses and enthusiasts have found a way to cope.
We are going to put down 60 million gallons of water in the form of snow no matter how much natural snow we have.
Ski resorts can make snow and say the mild temps are ideal for business.
This really is pretty ideal here, the way it's rolled out. We'd like to get some cold temperatures now so we can get all of our runs open and get the rest of the snow made, but we're confident that, you know, Mother Nature takes care of that.
Well, it hasn't really kept me out of it. I've skied 3 times already, and I've seen a lot of guys out here hiking up the ski trails. You know, they're not getting as much skiing as they'd like to, but they're still skiing, even though there's not much snow.
So regardless of whether snow is essential or just a luxury, many winter business owners and enthusiasts hope the flakes start falling soon. Justin Acree, Channel 6 News.
Kitty Nyquist is a 70-year-old former schoolteacher from Sedan. Barney Anderson is an 84-year-old with a Salvation Army background. The two met and fell in love at the Carleton Nursing Home.
In about the first week or two I was here, I got Kitty in my eye. And
we were in therapy together. That's where we met.
Though they met only 6 months ago, the impetuous duo tied the knot yesterday in Carleton in front of a large crowd of well-wishers. The ceremony itself was performed by Kitty's son Ralph, a Lutheran pastor.
It was when she went in the nursing home in February of this year. This wasn't exactly what we figured would be happening. We figured she'd be having a good time there, but maybe not quite this good a time.
Pastor Ralph says he never thought that at 40 years old he'd be gaining a stepdad, and he says that will take a little getting used to. In Carleton, Dave Anderson, Channel 6 News.
Ms. Koski was the victim of 2 gunshot wounds, either of which would have been fatal. Mr. Polowitz died of a gunshot wound to the head.
The incident occurred late last week at Koski's lakeside home. This was not the first deadly experience for Polowitz. He shot and killed his wife Janet at their home on West Morgan Street in Duluth in 1995. Polowitz claimed it was an accident that happened as he cleaned his gun. He was never charged with a crime. Police say the investigation was ongoing in the case. There are many parallels between the 1995 shooting and the one that eventually ended in Polowitz's death. A shotgun was used in both shootings. Investigators say Koski was working to end the relationship when she was killed, and Polowitz's daughter has been quoted in the press as saying that her mother Janet had threatened to leave before being shot. There were also no incidences of abuse reported to police by either woman. Investigators say Koski knew about Polowitz's violent past. They say she told family members she feared he was suicidal, but felt that she was not in danger.
She was aware of previous circumstances. She had indicated no fear of him, and in fact had answered a direct question by one of her children, and had stated that she did not feel that he was violent.
Experts say the most dangerous time for women in relationships is when they want out.
So many people say when we talk about this issue, well, why did, if that were me, I would just leave. And it's really very much more complicated than that. And because that is the most dangerous time for women in violent relationships, is when they do try to get out.
What were the pigs doing on the bus? Eating our lunches.
Angela Schultz loves to read. The second graders class is one of 2 SAGE experiments in Superior. SAGE stands for Student Achievement Guarantee in Education. But it's not the long name that Angela likes. It's the challenge her teachers give her.
I'm really good at reading, and on my score sheet, the best you can do is 7, and I'm on 5 right now.
Angela reads at the 4th grade level. Her mom sees a difference in her studies after just 1 year in the program.
From beginning to end of year, there's a huge difference in, are you helping? Mathematical ability, especially writing.
The Department of Public Instruction has just released its first survey on the program, and the findings are good.
It demonstrates that this program works. It provides bona fide data and factual evidence that when you reduce the class size, children will have the capability of learning better, believe in themselves, and be capable of performing better.
Here's just one example of how the SAGE program has improved kids' reading. Last October, these kids were reading books like The Farm, with the pigs, the ducks, very simple phrases, only 2 words per page. A year later, now they're reading At the Zoo. And as you can see, there are full sentences inside with many more words. Right now, there are 30 SAGE schools in Wisconsin. Next year, there will be 69, including 5 more districts in the Northland. Teachers say it's needed.
I think we need it for these students. I'd rather have the money go for their education now than to see them in prison later.
A sentiment echoed by parents of SAGE kids.
I mean, our children's education is paramount in all of our lives. I mean, someday they're going to be the ones taking care of our country here and trying to make it all work. And the better education they have, the better job they'll be doing.
In Superior, Maureen Tallarico, Channel 6 News.
June 30th, 1992. A train derailment in Superior releases a cloud of toxic chemicals into the atmosphere over the Twin Ports. At the time, there was no local hazardous materials response team, so a crew needed to be called in from the Twin Cities. The benzene spill crisis led to a hazardous response team being established in Duluth. It's one of only 5 in the state, and the chemical spill at the Tyson Foods plant was its first real test.
This is the first time that they actually suited up, went through the decon process and everything as a team.
The hazmat team responded to the scene within 10 minutes, and the decontamination process took about 4 hours. Team members evacuated 40 plant employees.
We had a number of employees, a large number. We brought a bus in to keep those people warm. We opened up a public works garage across the street to take care of the overflow. A lot of things happening at one time, but they did an excellent job yesterday.
5 years ago, during Toxic Tuesday, we had to wait for help from over 100 miles away. Now, with new equipment and a highly trained local response team, emergency workers say we can all rest a bit easier.
We're light years ahead of that. The equipment that we have today, because of our participation in the state hazmat team, are very much state-of-the-art. The training levels that we're at today are 4 or 5 times what we had.
The crashed frame of this Jeep Cherokee is all that remains of a high-speed chase that led police through the streets of downtown Superior. An officer on the radio calls out he's going to kill someone, and onlookers try to figure out what's going on.
Well, me and my girlfriend were having breakfast at Perkins, and we came out, and there's a car, that car right there actually, and I was going about 80 miles an hour, and I was thinking, why don't the car stop for the police officer, and then he just ran days in, he hung right, going about 80 miles an hour, screeching the tires and everything.
The chase began after a purse was ripped off at Super One Foods in West Duluth. Then police realized the getaway car was reported stolen in Michigan. For 10 minutes, the suspect led police on an intense high-speed chase through downtown Superior, speeds topping 85 miles per hour. The stolen car came cruising at high speeds down North 21st Street here in Superior. On that end, police had blocked the road. It swerved around the cop cars, but it hit a parked car alongside of the road. Then it went cruising at high speeds out of control into this intersection. In this intersection, it hit a squad car. Both the squad car and the black Cherokee spun 360s, ending up right here. Then 3 of the 5 people inside the car fled on foot. A man sitting inside this parked car says he's thankful to be alive. But the powerful impact with the police car caused extensive damage. Airbags deployed, clothes thrown out of the vehicle. A drivetrain ripped in 2. An officer suffered minor injuries to his hand and leg, and 2 of the suspects in the stolen Jeep were also injured in the crash. They were removed, handcuffed, and then taken away in an ambulance. Meanwhile, a foot chase through the neighborhood for the other 3 suspects began.
I've seen 3 people take off running, you know, and then cop ran off after them, and then a couple minutes later, another girl got out of the car. And
the cops were they're all yelling at each other. He's over there, he's over there. And then my mom actually saw a guy pull a gun on someone else, so I assume it was a cop.
Police caught the other 3 suspects with sighs of relief from local residents.
Actually, it's kind of scary with people speeding up and down, you know, and there's children out there because my kids play outside.
I was like, this is my neighborhood. I mean, this is like a peaceful community here. I mean, it's never happened before. This is like LA stuff.
So a crime spree that started in Michigan, hit Minnesota, and ended in Wisconsin is finally over. In Superior, Adam May, Channel 6 News.
Let her down.
Right now, with all the computation, I'm going to have to reconstruct the accident scene itself. That won't be known until a later date, but it appears that it could be.
How far away was the machine from the object that struck?
Considerable distance.